Mr. Toastmaster, fellow members and most welcome guests. This lighter is what stood between me and the beast from the east a couple of weeks ago. Had it not been for this lighter, I would have shivered to death under blankets in my living room. And many of you would have suffered the same fate. Why? Because 80% of British homes, 80% are heated by gas. Well, what's the matter, you might think? Gas comes from the North Sea. Not so fast. The North Sea is depleting. And in this winter we've just had, there were some ships coming from faraway places, nice countries like Saudi Arabia, Qatar, or Russia, who unloaded their gas onto our shore to keep all of you nice and warm. But this doesn't make sense when we've got plenty of gas right here under our feet, waiting to be extracted. The Bowland Shale and the South of England Shale. Shale layers, mile thick, much thicker than their counterpart in the United States, who are just waiting to be fracked that we can extract the gas out of them. How much is actually out there, you might be wondering? Well, according to the British Geological Survey, there is enough shale gas to meet the need of this country, not just for one winter, not even for two, not even for a decade, but for centuries, keeping you nice and warm, safe and warm, you and your great-great-great-great-grandchildren, safe and warm for centuries to come. Well, why despoil the green and pleasant countryside and frack it instead and have industrialization of the countryside? I hear you, and what's more, I agree with your criticism. I do not want all green and pleasant land to be despoiled. But geology is a funny thing. What's underneath the land also extends underneath the sea. And according again to the British Geological Survey, there is enough shale gas in the Irish and in the North Sea to keep this country supplied for centuries. 50 years ago, the United Kingdom became a world leader in offshore oil and gas by opening the North Sea oil field. We have an opportunity to do exactly the same thing with offshore oil and offshore gas, shale gas, shale oil, fracking the North Sea. But what else does it mean? Prosperity. Cheap energy is an essential ingredient of life, of modern life as we know it. And the North Sea oil bonanza was a bit of a missed opportunity for the United Kingdom. As some of you know, well, in Norway, they built a huge pot of money to pay for their pension. Couldn't we have done the same? Can't we do the same just now with this shale gas and this shale oil that's waiting to be extracted all around our island? Yes, we can. This pot of money will grow to billions that will become trillions in the end. Over £10,000 for every man, woman, child, every resident in the United Kingdom. Enough money to build schools, hospitals, crossrails in London, third runways in Heathrow, second runway in Gatwick. More money to invest in the future in this country and also take care of the pension problem. Yes, it is risky. I understand your concerns. Yes, it is risky. But just like it was risky when you were 1 year old and you were making your first ever baby steps, your first ever steps to become a man and a woman, to become an adult. Risk is the price to pay for security. Risk is the price to pay for security, for prosperity. Therefore, let us frack and ensure that our great-grandchildren can stay safe and warm for the centuries to come. There is now a Q&A session. Can we reset the timing? Thomas.
Yeah, so my name is Richard Farmer. I'm from North Dakota. So there's some fracking in my backyard, and it seems like the groundwater's turned black. I mean, this sounds like a terrible idea. What are you going to do about this black water that's coming out of my faucet?
It is what happened in the United States. We are in a different country, though. In the United Kingdom,
What are you talking about the U.S. here?
because you said you were from North Dakota. The regulation, the law, the environmental law in the United States are very different than in the United Kingdom. For example, when someone fracks in North Dakota, they're sending hundreds of chemicals down to blast the rock. In the UK, you're only allowed 4 maximum. INEOS, a British company, only plans to use 4 chemicals to blast the rock. Yes, it is a risk, but it is safe. There is regulation to do that, and if it is demonstrably unsafe and that it will pollute the groundwater, the fracking will not go ahead on that given site.
What chemicals?
Sid.
The number of earthquakes experienced in and around the Texas area have increased by around 10-fold. So, like, if the fracking happens in the North Sea, are we going to see shaking churches and buildings around, or?
The geology of Texas and the geology of the North Sea are completely different. If we look at the geology of the North Sea, it's a very stable geology. It's sediment, it's been there for hundreds of millions of years, it is stable. Yes, there are some very small earthquakes as part of the fracking process. They're like 0.05 on the Richter scale. So they're effectively meaningless. You will need to be at sea to feel them. Onshore, in Aberdeen, or in Scotland, or in Newcastle, you're not going to feel a thing. And you're not going to have any tsunamis cover that, because you would need a much larger earthquakes, and that's simply not possible.
Richard Farmer, you didn't answer my question?
Yes, I did answer your question.
No, I asked you about the chemicals.
Yes, sir.
Surely, instead of looking to increase the amount of fossil fuels we're using or available to use that are going to contribute more to greenhouse gases, we should be looking to find ways of reducing energy consumption.
We should indeed. Well, let's just take a step back here. There are different types of fossil fuel. Gas, natural gas, is the cleanest fossil fuel available. And the alternative to not using that would be to electrify the heating system. Where's the electricity going to come from? Nuclear power, you're going to have nuclear meltdowns instead. Well, choose your devil, basically. Yes, please.
So following on from that question, should we be focusing more on sustainable forms of energy if we're not reducing energy consumption?
This can be part of a transition period. Let's remember that the money that will come from shale gas, we're talking about potentially trillions of pounds here. These trillions of pounds could be reinvested in the future into green energy, energy storage, making homes and businesses more energy efficient. So it's a means to an end, and that money could also help poorer countries becoming more energy efficient as well. I'll take one final question. Yes, please, Shaban.
What guarantee can you give us that that will happen? It sounds like Brexit all over again.
Yeah.
What guarantee can I give you that it will happen?
That it will reinvested in transition, reinvested in sustainable energy.
This requires careful government intervention and careful government planning. I know that there's an element of saying, well, what could we do differently? When we had the North Sea oil, we wasted the North Sea oil bonanza. We wasted hundreds of billions of pounds in tax cuts. This time, we will not waste that money. We will enshrine it into law that the government must look after